We are going to make origami fidget toys, basically. They're a little bit more complicated than some of the origami projects that we've done in the past, but I think you'll enjoy the finished product. You will need 5 or 6 sheets of square paper. And so if you start off with your rectangular, just typing sheet of paper, you can just make one cut and you can make them 8.5 by 8.5 inch squares, which is what I did. Here I'm just taking a paper cutter, but you can just take a scissors. If you remember how I showed you, just fold the paper so that the one side aligns itself with the other side, the opposite side. And you'll end up with a square sheet of paper by doing so. You will also need glue. You will need either stick glue, liquid Elmer's glue, or you could use rubber cement. If you use rubber cement, though, make sure that you have like good ventilation, so opening a window, or maybe you have a place outside that you could do this, like on a picnic table or something like that. Your first step will be to take one of the square sheets of paper and fold it in half. You're going to take this and you're going to fold it in half again. And you'll fold it in half again. Now make sure that your corners line up and that you press firmly on your folds so that they don't pop apart again. You're going to take part of it, you can kind of see how I'm separating them, and you're going to fold it down to the fold. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now when I hold it up and you look at it from the long side, it looks like a W or an M. Now I'm going to unfold everything. So basically it's just a square sheet of paper that's folded accordion style. Now this part gets a little tricky because as you fold it, it doesn't really want to go that way, but you're going to be folding it in half the other way. So try to match up the corners as best as you can. And then when you have those matched up pretty well, you can kind of hold those in place, and then you can press firmly on the fold so that it'll stay. And then you're going to take the open side and you're going to fold just the top part down to the fold. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now you're going to fold it like an accordion, which is basically just folding it the opposite way each time. So top, bottom, or front, back. Just going the opposite way each time you're folding. Now this kind of wants to pop out of your hands at this point in time, so you might have to kind of press them firmly together so that it makes them a little less poppable. So I'm pressing on them pretty well so that I can try to compress it a little more. Now I have two different sides to this, and I want to make sure that the side that I have up is the open side. So there should be an open flap on both sides of the center. And I'm going to pull those apart from the center. Now I'm going to fold them again accordion style, just how I did before, only now they're separated a little bit, so hopefully it'll make it easier to pull them apart. Because I actually want the three to be a little separated so that it basically forms a W or an M, depending on how you're looking at it. And it gets a little tricky because they don't really want to come apart that easily. So you might need extra hands, depending on how stubborn the paper is. So as you can see, as it's folding, it's not folding in that one row anymore. It's folding a little bit more so that you have the side one sticking out a little bit better. So then I'm going to take, and I'm going to try to pull a few at a time, but make sure that you're careful. Because if you try to pull them too many at a time, or if you try to pull them really quickly, sometimes the paper can rip. And I'm going to do this on both sides. So then you can see how I'm starting to separate these. I'm going to try to fix them a little bit because as I was pulling, I kind of messed them up a little bit. Now I'm going to press firmly. Now I'm going to flip it over so I can look at the bottom of it. And I'm going to start pulling apart the two sides. Now you might have to do this a couple of times, so you might have to go back through just in case one is still not coming out for you or separating for you. So they're still kind of hooked, so I'm going to go back through, try to pull smaller bits apart or smaller sections apart. And then you want to be careful though, because you don't want to rip it. I'm going to fix this part of the M quick. And now you can clearly see that it's an M or a W, and that's what you want. You want like an accordion M or a W. And then you'll end up gluing those faces together. So now I need some more pieces though, because I need 5 or 6 of them to be able to create the ring. So now I'm just going to keep on going, and I'm going to create the pattern one that I wanted. So I'm going to do the blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow. Once I get all my pieces finished, I'm going to want to get out my glue, and I'm going to start gluing the faces of each M together. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab one. And if I have a specific pattern, I want to make sure that I grab the next one that is correct. So after this one, since I'm starting with yellow, I want the blue one next, then a yellow, blue, so on. And so I'm just going to put glue, I'm just going to use the glue stick, and I'm going to put glue on the one face, and then I'm going to put the blue one next, and I'm just going to press them together as tight as I can. And ideally, I would put this like under a book or something, give it a few minutes to completely dry, and then I would glue the next one, or glue the next face on. And then keep doing that and keep on putting it underneath something heavy. Now, I could just glue all of them and then put them all under something heavy before I actually glue the last two pieces together to make it into a ring. Because you can't clamp it or you can't put it under something heavy after you do that. So, but I'm a little impatient and I'm going to go ahead and glue it together so I can show you. So I put glue on the one side and I'm going to attach them together. I have to hold the top and the bottom. So from the top I'm going to hold like the two ends, and then from the bottom, when I pick it up, I'm going to hold basically like the center stem of the M or the W, just to try to help the glue firmly press and attach it pretty well. Now, if you don't wait long enough for the glue to dry, it's not really that big of an issue. It will probably come apart, and then you can just re-glue it. But if you wait, then you don't have to deal with that. You can kind of fix it a little bit if the glue is still wet, so if it's not completely lined up, you can fix that. Now, I'm going to start fidgeting with it, but I didn't wait for the glue to completely dry. I just started fidgeting with it. And so, as you can see, it popped apart. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it for a little bit longer, and I'm going to give it a little bit of time to dry. Now I give it some time to dry, and I can fidget.